Holding her last weekly press conference as the Democrat leader, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi had high praise for the press. Watch this.
This is my final weekly press conference, and some of you have been covering Congress for a long time. Others are new. All of you are guardians of democracy. You've heard me say again and again, if there were one freedom in the First Amendment, the freedom of the press, that would be the one that protects and defends all the other freedoms.
Pollster and Maslansky+Partners President Lee Carter joins us now to react. Lee, good morning to you. Merry Christmas.
Morning. Merry Christmas.
What do you think about these comments from the House Speaker, her final bow in a leadership position?
Well, I thought it was interesting that she focused not just on the press, but really on democracy. I think the Democrats really feel like that was the message that took them over the finish line in the midterms. And exit polling suggested that it does. More than 2/3 of Americans do believe that democracy is under threat. But most Americans disagree on the nature of that threat. So Democrats look at that threat as Trump himself. They look at it as election deniers and conspiracy theorists. And I think that's really what she was trying to address here, is saying, you know, the press has really been on the side of that. And Republicans, on the other hand, look at it and say, yeah, democracy is under threat because we don't believe that every vote is counted and every voice is heard. They feel that free press is actually, free speech is under attack. And so when this message is put out there, very, very different reactions depending who you're talking to. And so when Speaker Pelosi chooses to say you're protecting democracy, what is she really saying? She's saying you're on our side. I think that's what many people hear on the right when she said that.
That's such a great point. And it is interesting how that divide plays out politically. So she may genuinely think that reporters are guardians of democracy, as she says, but she certainly doesn't like all the questions that they ask, especially when it comes to her future. If you remember this, she snapped at a reporter just a few weeks ago. Watch.
Will you commit to serving your full 2-year term for the people of San Francisco?
What is this? Don't bother me with a question like that. Really? Really? Those kind of questions are such a waste of my time.
Oh, and you know, Lee, I thought that moment was pretty interesting because I do think that that's a question her constituents would want to know, which is essentially, if you're out of a leadership position, are you going to bail early?
Of course. I mean, people want to know who they voted for, what their plans are. Are they going to stay around or not? That doesn't seem like the attitude of someone who is praising somebody for being a guardian of democracy, right? But I think in that moment, when she was thinking about the press in a different way, sort of in a backward-looking view, she was thinking holistically, I'm thankful that the press has been mostly on our side. And I think that's what she was trying to portray there.
Yeah, and then looking towards the future, Hakeem Jeffries just elected as leader of House Democrats, but Nancy Pelosi still has all of this, seniority and leadership there. So I just wonder how that power dynamic is going to play out. It doesn't seem like Nancy Pelosi would be that kind of person to really take a sideline stance.
Well, one of my favorite quotes by Nancy Pelosi about this was when she said, look, I'm not going to be like the mother-in-law taking over Thanksgiving dinner. I'm just out. And so I think she's got to have an all or nothing approach here, because I can't imagine that she's not going to be trying to control exactly how this goes. She's been around for so long doing this job for, over time, in and out for a very, very long time. So I think it would be hard for her not to try and be somewhat controlling there. So yeah. I would expect her to try to take a hands-off approach, but that might be very difficult. And maybe that's why she couldn't answer the question. Maybe she's not going to be able to do it.
Right, or maybe a mentorship role or something. It's certainly something to watch come 2023. Lee, thank you for joining us.
Of course, great to see you. Merry Christmas.
Good to see you too. Merry Christmas.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.